discussion about reducing committee meetings, even reducing the number of commission meetings, in an effort to reduce the amount budgeted for those activities. And every year we come up near the end, and we're looking toward the end now, and our balance is low, and that if we continue to have the meetings as they're scheduled and calendar, we're going to need to transfer some money into that line item. And in discussions with the finance director, it's a good estimate that we would probably need $25,000 for the commission budget line item for the meetings. I make a motion that we transfer those funds. If we do not do that, we're looking at possibly shutting down a number of meetings, which we hope to look at more seriously and really get involved in the some changes that would prevent us from having to do this next year. But to finish out this year, if we're going to operate here in the county, we need to transfer those funds, and I make the motion that we transfer the $25,000 as recommended by the budget committee.
Second. Motion by Mr. Sis, second by Mr. Hodge. Discussion, Mr. Lewis.
If I recall, this has been going on for a long time. I know last year that we went across the same thing every year, short on money. Now, my recollection is, I hope somebody else will remember this, we voted last year up to $60,000 before we went back to do this again. And I don't know what don't get put in the minutes, or what the problem is. Every year we go through the same old thing, need more money. And last year we decided to nip it in the bud and go ahead and put $60,000 back in Miss Goose, was that in any kind of meeting?
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
The amount put in there was $40,000, not $60,000.
We didn't vote on $60,000.
If we did, we voted against
How
it.
about any other use of commission? Do you remember anything like that?
If you look in your budget,
I realize that.
$40,000.
Mr. Lewis, we discussed that during the budget workshops. However, when it came back around time to vote on the budget as a whole, our focus was on other areas instead of the commission line item, and we never did do that.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Can we get by on 1250 like that? Got some of the meetings down. The first year I tried to, I worked pretty hard to get these meetings down to 8, cut them down to Southern County $30,000. Now we're going to what, up to $8,000. Could you make it 12? Instead of 25,000?
You're averaging about $5,000 a month in payroll expenses. You have 6 months remaining. You have $9,000 left in that account.
I'm talking about going to cut some of these
You
down.
would have to pay your meetings. We're
It'll be
volunteers.
pretty tough.
So one of the problems we have with this is someone needs to be in charge of allowing meetings to take place. In other words, I don't know that we're having meetings that are necessary, but they should be some kind of criteria for having a meeting, not just a meeting, every month. 2 weeks or whatever might be going on. So we need to think about someone or some office to have the responsibility that, you know, to look at what the request might be. If it's viable, then we should go ahead with it. But if it's not really necessary, then we should not be involved in it.
Mr. Sis, could we make a motion maybe to have committee meetings every other month unless it's emergency? Would that help some, create some?
Okay, there are some exceptions.
Yeah, I know, but the chairman could call a meeting if it's necessary emergency.
Well, true, if it's something, like you say, then a call meeting would be in order. But off the top of my head, the budget committee meets every month prior to the regular commission meeting. And that's necessary because we have amendments, things that need to be done. I think the finance director would agree with that. But that's an exception that maybe needs to be considered every month. And there are others, I'm sure. Yes.
Chairman, a few years ago, when I was on the commission, we only had 10 full commission meetings. I remember that. And I know at that time, we went through a flood, we built 2 schools, and we still only had 10 commission meetings per year. I think if I remember, maybe November, February, it was 2 months a year.
It was my intent to cancel today's meeting due to the fact that there was very few committee meetings this month. And when I was in discussion with the county attorney about that, I was informed that according to state law, we had to accept the county road list in January. That's the only reason that I did not cancel today's meeting. There will be times during the year, maybe not a whole lot is going on, but something such as this, according to some rule or law, that we have to do. So,
I was thinking before it was in November, maybe February. We didn't have.
when I first started, we didn't have one in November, and I forget whatever. Yeah, you're right. Just a minute, the chair.
If I can make a suggestion, I would offer up one time just as a solution. I've been very fortunate not to have to hire for out of the correction side, so you wouldn't have to dip into the pot. I would offer one time to give you all $25,000 down my correction line item. That would allow the government to go on and have our meetings. So I don't see if, you know, I would be glad to do that if that would help.
We appreciate that offer, but if you don't use it, it'll roll back into the general fund balance.
Can you not transfer that out just
It's a
one?
net effect. Either you use it to the commission, or if you don't use it, it goes back into fund balance. Either way, it's going to fund balance.
Okay. I just
Thank you for your
offer
offer.
to try to help you all get through the year.
Mr. Brown.
Our committees are out of control. We've got committees that's loaded. It's like the planning commission for one, literally to have that meeting cost us about as much to have this meeting.
Your planning commission does not come out of your line, they have their own.
I know that, but yet we've got other committees that are, they're meeting for no reason. We need to make the chairperson responsible for whether they have that meeting each month or not. And we need to, while we're in this predicament, we need to take the less amount of pay that we can take for these meetings. We need to be able to take that. So what is the less amount of pay that we can take for a committee meeting, and what's the less amount we can take for a commission meeting? Here it's on the fiscal year's end.
We have a question on the motion from Mr. Ritchie. Sorry.
Second.
Call roll, please.
Would you repeat the motion?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, I think we should have a discussion. Ms. Brown has asked for a question to be answered for.
And I'm not gonna have the answer.
You know the answer, Ms. Brown. You've been on this for the time.
Yeah, I think that this body ought to be willing to take the less amount of money. I want to know what it is.
If I recall, it says the minimum for a community would be $35, and your full commission meeting will be double that, so that would be $60. I don't have this actually in front of me, but I'll do that.
I want to amend, I want to make a motion that we do that.
Mr. Brown, you have asked him to
We
amend his motion to that effect.
do have one.
Yes, Mr. Sis would have to amend his motion.
Mr. Sis, will you amend your motion?
We'll vote on the motion. We have a motion, a second question we're going to call. Then you can bring up whatever you want to after we vote.
He refused to amend his motion, and the question on the motion has been called. Sorry. Call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
Hubert Peters.
Aye.
Hugh Ritchie. Scott Todd.
Aye.
Nancy Brown. Joel Street.
Pass.
Richard Winters.
Aye.
Ronnie Crivitt.
No.
Harry Seas.
Aye.
Charles Montana.
No.
Elsie Testor. Steve Grant.
No.
Tom Allen.
Aye.
Joy Blankenship.
Aye.
Charlie Bates.
No.
Mary Craig.
Aye.
Ian Arden.
Aye.
Steve Chambers.
Aye.
Ron Lewis.
Aye.
Sonia Cole.
Pass.
Justin Powell.
Aye.
Scott Sands. Bill Armstrong.
Aye.
Pat Hicks.
No.
Robert Goff.
No.
Is he number two?
14 ayes, motion carried.